Well, despite the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, the organizers of the Tokyo Olympics are moving forward on plans to hold the Games there this summer. They've just released a COVID playbook with rules for athletes and officials who will be on site. Those include things like not using public transport without permission or wearing a face mask at all times during the event, except when eating or sleeping. Well, to get the very latest on this, let's bring in Michael Penn in Tokyo. Michael, what else is in this COVID playbook?
Well, as you mentioned, those two items are in it. The playbook, although we're calling it a playbook, it's kind of like a first draft, and it's something which they're planning to update frequently, and it's not complete yet. But it is the first sort of set of rules of behavior which they've issued in advance to this very strange episode of the Olympics that we'll be having this summer. It's aimed mostly at the athletes. So, for example, another thing that's in it is that the athletes will not be required to have taken COVID-19 vaccines, partially because they can't guarantee that they'll be available. But they are encouraging them as much as possible to have them before they come to Japan. The main thrust of the playbook as it exists so far is to try to encourage the athletes not to interact with the general public as much as possible, so as not to further spread the COVID-19 pandemic within Japan. And essentially just to control the situation as much as possible by relying on people's personal behavior and the behavior of the various national Olympic agencies.
Michael, usually ahead of an Olympic Games, there's a lot of excitement in the city where it's taking place. How do people feel there in Tokyo? Is there excitement or is there more fear just because of the pandemic?
Yes, well, public opinion in Japan has turned pretty strongly against the Olympics. The latest polls suggest that about 80% of the Japanese general public believes that either the Olympics should be canceled altogether, and that now receives a plurality of the opinion in Japan. And then another group says that, well, we want to have the Olympics, but this summer isn't the time. Let's delay it further. And then there's only about 20% of the public that actually wants to hold it now. But among that 20% is the government and the political establishment, which is absolutely, absolutely adamant that they will go forward and they'll go forward on time. So the public and the government are out of step on this.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Michael. Michael Penn there reporting for us from Tokyo.